I'm Pearson Probst, and this story is entitled My Imagination. Morris Steinbrenner sat behind a big mahogany desk at the top of a New York City skyscraper. He was the CEO of the Steinbrenner Antivirus Company. He got a call. Hello, Mr. Steinbrenner. This is Joanna. I really need to come and talk to you. Please, it'll only take a moment. Please. If you must. And in came Joanna, his secretary. Very prim and proper, slim, tall, long blonde hair, black glasses. She sat down in front of him. Mr. Morris. Sorry. Mr. Steinbrenner. I've been working here 5 years, and I've really been working my tail off recently, and I'm getting engaged soon. I need a new apartment. I really need a raise. So all you want's money. All they ever want is money. They say it's your intellect. They say it's your character. They say it's something about you, but it's not really that thing. It's how that thing gets them money. Why don't you get out of my office? Why don't you work your tail off? And maybe in 4 to 6 months, we'll see if you really deserve that raise. Joanna kind of looked down, sighed, and left. Morris wasn't affected. He worked quickly and efficiently, as always. Clocked out, went home, cooked himself dinner, watched Mad Money, and went to bed. But he didn't sleep. He got hot, he got restless, his thoughts becoming boredly abstract as the minutes ticked away. He decided to go for a walk. He put on his loafers, put on his wool coat, put on his earmuffs, and went outside. The cold February wind bit away at any warmth that he had previously had. He went down to the Williamsburg Bridge. In the warm orange glow of the street lamps, he saw a black shadowy figure kind of slumped over with a cup. And not wanting any trouble, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a quarter. And as he passed the man, he dropped it in. Clunk. The black mass kind of straightened itself. Good evening. I'm Michael Lawrence, and I tell people stories whenever they give me money. What's your name? It's, Morris. Well, Mr. Morris, I'm going to tell you of when I was in Vietnam. And as he said that, he poked his head out a little bit. And the orange glow lit up Vietnam vet across the top of his hat. Now, Mr. Morris, I was on night patrol, and we got jumped by the Viet Cong. Came out of nowhere. We fended them off. Oh, we did. We were good. But one of my boys shot right through the heart. He was laying on the ground. He was dying, Mr. Morris. I went over and talked to him. He told me his dying wish. He told me that there was this girl that he had always wanted to tell how he felt. He had met her in college, but he had never quite taken that extra step. Never quite told her how he felt. He told me her name and told me to find her and tell her that he still loved her, even in his dying moments. I was touched, Mr. Morris. But when I got home, I realized I could never remember her name. I'm embarrassed, but I don't know what to do. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, I don't want to get sappy or anything, but you just gotta take a shot while you got a shot, you know? Because you won't always have one. Morris nodded his head, went home, and went to sleep. The next morning, he woke up, and he noticed how cold his bed was underneath where he wasn't laying. He noticed how it was just warm where he was. He noticed how his footsteps were the only noise in his apartment. He noticed how big it all was, and how little of it he occupied. He went to work and noticed how everyone avoided him like the plague. The women especially glared at him as he walked by. He tried to say good morning to Joanna, but she pretended to be typing a memo. Take a shot while you got a shot. Man, I got all the shots I want. I'm a rich man. I'm valuable, he thought. But it still bothered him. He struggled through the day. He clocked out. He went home, watched Mad Money, cooked himself dinner, and went to bed. But he didn't go to sleep. No. He once again found himself putting on his loafers, putting on his wool coat, putting on his earmuffs, and going down to the Williamsburg Bridge. The familiar orange glow lit up Michael Lawrence down the way. This time he was prepared. Pulled out a quarter, dropped it in his cup. Good evening, Mr. Morris. What brings you back? I don't know. I guess I just couldn't sleep. I was hoping, he'd tell me a story or something. Well, I don't know what it is about you, Mr. Morris, but you bring out the sappy side in me. So I'm going to tell you about my wife, Mr. Morris. You see, I had a wife and she was hot. Not hot as in like a sex symbol or nothing. No. Hot as in she had this passion for the world. She could warm up this cold, dark city, Mr. Morris. I had 2 girls, I had a house, I had a job, I had it all. But I lost it. Long story short, Mr. Morris, I lost my job first, and you know how tough this city is. I started drinking, I started shooting up, I started not saying goodnight to my girl. And even though some people might say I lost it all, I already did. I didn't really lose it all. Because you never quite forget that feeling of falling in love, Mr. Morris. That warm feeling that kind of fills your gut. That's what's kept me toasty on all these cold nights, Mr. Morris. Morris didn't know, but he nodded and went back to his house and went to bed. Once again, he woke up and noticed the largeness of his apartment, noticed how cold it was. He didn't have that warm feeling. It was befuddling him. Take a shot while you got a shot, warm feeling. He was 38, but what, you need a wife to be happy? You need a girlfriend to be happy? He decided to go down the Williamsburg Bridge to get it all straight. But when he got there, there was no orange glow. There was no Michael Lawrence, just another bum on the side of the road. Morris went over to him. Do you know where Michael is? Does he just sleep here? Or, can I find him? Do you know where he is? Bum said, boy, I've been sleeping under this bridge up 5 years, and I ain't never heard of no Michael Lawrence. Why don't you take your crap somewhere else? Stop messing with me. Now Morris was really confused. He was also really tired, so he went home and went to bed. For the next 6 days, he went back and checked. No Michael, no Michael, no Michael, no Michael, no Michael, no Michael. Nothing. But he knew that he didn't have that warm feeling. He didn't have that many more shots, maybe. So, even though it was silly, he took Michael's advice. He called up Cindy, his old college girlfriend, and asked her out on a date for that Saturday night. She said yes. He put on his black Armani tux, picked her up, and they went to the bar. They sat in the window seat, both kind of enjoying each other's awkward warmth. It had been a while. But they could both tell that each other was lonely. And as they were sitting there, a bum kind of staggered across in front of the window and turned and looked into the glow. And he smiled. In the light, you could see it read Vietnam War Veteran on his hat. He looked back down at his feet, and shuffled away. Morris thought he saw something. His eyes don't lie. He ran outside, shoved open the door, and looked down the street both ways. But there was nothing. Cindy came out and grabbed his arm. "What's the matter?" Morris replied, "I don't really know. I guess it was just my imagination." Thanks.